Madhubanti Bagchi, it is a pleasure to have you on BBC Asian Network. How are you?
I'm doing good. It is such a good thing that I've finally met you, Haroon. I've been thinking about it for a while, but it's finally happened. So great.
You know, this is an absolute delight for me because, as I was telling you, of all the interviews that I knew I was going to be doing in Mumbai, yours was one I was most excited about because your voice has been going on and on and on in my mind. You were my most streamed song of 2024. You are now probably going to be on there for 2025 as well with Ishq and Uyi Amma. Aaj Ki Raat is outstanding. There's so much to talk about. But firstly, I need to verify that this is Madhubanti Bagchi. And the only way I can do that is through your voice. So you need to sing a little something for me so I know this is that woman.
Okay. So I'll do one thing. There is this little intro to Aaj Ki Raat, which is there in that full version. If you watch the movie, it's there in that version as well. So I'll do a little bit of that. बंदे तो क्या इस हुस्न पे फरिश्ते भी फना है बस दूर से देखिए इसे छूना मना है छूना मना है.
Wow,
Did I pass?
You pass. We are with Madhubanti. How amazing. You know, the first thing I need to understand is how did life change after that song that you just begun singing there? Aaj Ki Raat. It is, for many people, the best thing about 2024. But how did your life change after that song?
It's been a slow change, but yeah, slowly but gradually I got busier with songs. And obviously people started recognizing, like, I think in 2024 I haven't met anyone who hasn't heard the song, which is a very big deal in today's times, because you know a lot of songs are hits in certain pockets, and some indie songs are hit amongst its own listeners. But that's the great thing about Bollywood. When it's a hit Bollywood song, then the whole country actually gets to hear it. And I think that's the most satisfying, and it's been a very new experience for me, that this one song which I've sung, that every single person I've met has heard it. And sometimes it has happened that they didn't know that it's me behind the voice, but slowly even that has people have recognized and put a name to the face, and they've started recognizing me as the artist of the song. So obviously it's a very, very welcome change that I've seen in my life.
You know, also when you are coming from a place where the struggle has been so real for so many years, for people to hear your voice and be familiar with your voice, is it an overwhelming feeling when it happens so instantly? I know you've done work prior to Aaj Ki Raat. Of course, Heeramandi will come on to as well, and just your years of getting to that point. But when the fame, the success, the recognition happens so overnight, because Aaj Ki Raat was quite literally an overnight sensation.
Yeah.
Is that almost hard to accept or acknowledge or deal with?
For me, it didn't feel like overnight success, because I told you I belong to Calcutta. I've been working in the Bengali film industry I worked there for 4 years, and then I moved to Mumbai. So for me, it was actually very different, because in Calcutta, I did a lot of good songs. They were very popular. Even when now I go to perform there, my team and my bandmates who are actually from Mumbai, they have no idea the Bengali songs I'm singing. But they get to see the tremendous response that people still have for those songs, which I had sung in 2016, 17. And in 18, I decided to randomly move to Mumbai very abruptly, not thinking about the fact that, I again have to start from zero. You don't get into a room in Mumbai and say that, oh, I have been fairly successful in Calcutta, so I deserve a good song. No one is going to give you that. So, and I've been through that process twice now. So when now this fame or success that came with Aaj Ki Raat, it didn't really feel like overnight, because I have been at it for quite some time. people in the industry, they have always, I mean, people know, within the industry, people know that the kind of work that I have done. And I feel it did not come as a jerk to me. Like, I felt pretty well acclimatized to the fact that, okay, now I'm getting a huge recognition for a song. I mean, it happens in every artist's
So let
life,
me
I
rephrase
feel.
that. Is it disrespectful for somebody to assume that the success is overnight? Does it feel a little disheartening when you know that people only know you from something because of the reach of Bollywood, rather than maybe the skill that you've presented in other songs that haven't been promoted or distributed as widely as Bollywood has given you that reach?
I wouldn't say disrespectful. I would just, I think a lot of people did follow me before Aaj Ki Raat, but it's a very obvious thing. Bollywood has a huge, huge reach. I mean, it's undeniable.
Well, this honesty is really refreshing, because there are some people who today in 2025 argue that you don't need Bollywood to succeed in music, that the independent music scene is so strong, or that, you know, the power of social media is so strong that you can become just as successful without Bollywood. But what would you say to that?
I mean, I wouldn't say that you can't be. There are various definitions of success, of course. But from my experience, from what I saw with all the songs, I have done a lot of independent music as well, regional music, my own composed music, and Bollywood. So from what I understood is that, and also OTT has come in. You can very clearly see the difference once you, honestly, when you start performing live. When you go and play in front of an audience, a very uninitiated audience, who have just come to, you know, they're just listening to you. They don't know, they don't have any introduction or anything. Then you realize that the core of our country, especially our country, the core of our country, is still very, very widely listening to only Bollywood. They don't have the exposure to a lot of urban things that we are exposed to. We might think, we live in cities, we might think, you know, this is really working and this is great. It is working, it's not that it's not working. But if you go to different corners of the country where people are still walking barefoot, and they don't have you know, clean water supply and all, they just depend on Bollywood for their entertainment. They don't have access to a lot of, you know, all these independent music that is happening. Not that it's not working, it is working, but it's not reaching as many people,
And
is what I think.
And how does that work for you as an artist? Because the one thing you retain when you don't work for Bollywood is creative control over your artistry. And the minute you start singing for Bollywood, you're not really in control. You're fulfilling a brief that a producer has given a music producer, and the music producer has given you. So you are working to somebody else's vision. Whereas when
Yeah.
you're an independent artist, you're in control of everything.
Yeah.
How does that work for you?
See, to be very honest, when a person chooses to be a Bollywood playback singer, first thing is that that person needs to have a very specific skill set, because you should be able to take instructions from someone else. You know, all these session musicians that also we have. I can't have a musician who only knows how to play one style of music. I need someone who's been in that thing for so long that he knows 5 different genres and how to combine them all and play it in a song. Similarly, for a playback singer, you need to be very skilled to be able to take instructions and deliver it that way. And this concept of playback singer is not there in, you know, in other countries and in other forms of music. If as a singer I want to express what I want to express, then I'm free to do my own music. It's not, the thing is that it's not mutually exclusive. It's not that if you are doing Bollywood, you can't do your own music. You can always, I'm doing it, I'm releasing, slowly have started releasing my own music, which I have composed. It's very personal. It's something that I want to say to the world. But obviously, in my own music, I will not write or I'll not sing an Aaj Ki Raat, because it doesn't represent who I am as a person.
But it probably won't reach as many people as
Of
Aaj
course
Ki
not.
Raat.
Even if I released Aaj Ki Raat as an independent single, it wouldn't have reached
But
so many people.
Isn't it a little bit of a sticky situation to be in when, you know, I think the magic of Aaj Ki Raat is every single component of the song, the video is perfection. From Sachin Jigar's composition, to your voice, to the manna in the video, to the director, to the choreography, to the back, to everything about that song is masterful. But for a lot of people who are uninitiated with how it works, it's Tamanna's song. Tamanna is the face of it. Tamanna is the star of it. And you will never quite get the same credit as Tamanna. So how do you come to terms with that?
I mean, that's how movies work, right? Like the lyrics. I would give so much credit to the lyrics of the song.
Yes.
A lot of people don't even go into so much depth and realize how nicely Amitabh Da has crafted the lyrics, and how respectfully he has written about consent, that कि खरीदी नहीं जा सकती हसीनों की इजाज़त. To write a line like that in a so-called item song, I think it's a brilliant move, and even the makers to have implemented those kind of words, those kind of sentences in the song. It's very smart, it's very intelligent what they have done. And see, in Bollywood, it has always been the case, people who are behind the scene, not just in Bollywood, I think in any entertainment industry, whoever is in the forefront will get the most amount of attention. So
the reason I ask you that is because there is always an ongoing conversation about the credit that playback singers get or should get. And there are many playback singers who are unhappy with the way that their songs are credited. Recently, Abhijit, the singer, he was very unhappy when Dua Lipa performed in Mumbai and she did a remix of Wo Ladki, I think, from Badshah. He was very unhappy that it was seen to be Shah Rukh's song and that it wasn't his song. So do you have to almost come to peace with that reality before you enter this industry, that you're giving your voice, but beyond that, your identity to some extent will always be in the background?
See, that's the thing about being a playback singer, right? You already know what you're going to do.
Not everybody does.
Yeah, so that's a surprise. But you're competing with, like, Shah Rukh Khan's star power is so big. How am I or any other singer or even a senior singer is going to compete with that? It's not a clash of talent or craft. His craft is different, your craft is different, and we are just there to support his image that he has built on screen. Even in the case of Aaj Ki Raat, it's Tamanna's visuals with the music is from a different team. It's from a different craft. Both are working in tandem to create an audio-visual experience.
Yeah.
We cannot fight within ourselves. That's something which I feel that these two units are not in a fight with each other. They have to work, especially in the case of Bollywood, they have to work together to create something very, very long-lasting that can be long-lasting in the audience's memories.
Right now, Madhubanti, I would say that you are the flavour of the season. And this is a little bit of a sticky place. And I tell you why. We know that Bollywood has a habit of wanting to replicate when something becomes successful. Yeah. So I can imagine you will have been offered 10 Aaj Ki Raats after Aaj Ki Raat happened. There'll be another variation of a ghazal. There'll be another variation of that, like that dance kind of sound. And I can imagine lots of people will try doing that with you. And even if you say no to that, they will still want your voice for at least the next year. And we've seen that. Uyi Amma is a prime example of that. 6 months after Aaj Ki Raat, you are on another top dance track. Not similar picturization, but the premise is the same, right? It's an item song to some extent. How do you make sure you're not flavour of the season and you're flavour of all seasons? How do you make sure that you have the longevity in this career, that you are here beyond just the next couple of years?
I think the only way to do it is expand your skill set, because I also do it pretty actively. I also work on my independent music for that very reason, that I keep releasing music of different genres, things that I'm listening to. And also you do have a choice. It's not that you can't tell someone that, I think it's very similar to the kind of work that I've been doing since the past 3-4 months, and I don't want to repeat this. Let's do something else. I'm happy to kind of sing a different kind of a song. Uyi Amma, when I heard it, I felt that it is not in the same zone as Aaj Ki Raat, because Aaj Ki Raat is a very, it's a slow, thera, it's a ghazal kind of a song put on different beats. Uyi Amma is a textbook item song. It is like from the get-go, it's an item song, and if you cannot sing it in any other way. It is.
Do you feel comfortable singing Uyi Amma? Because the lyrics are about a young vulnerable woman who is running away from a man trying to approach her, right?
Correct.
That
Yeah.
is what the premise of
Yeah.
the song is about. And given, you know, I wonder how much of that you think about before committing to it. You also have to be practical about the business sense here. You're being offered a big song with a big record label. You know what you're, if you said no, what you would be saying no to.
Yeah.
But do you feel comfortable singing songs like that?
See, what I feel is that, again, when you are a playback singer, you're practically an actor.
Do you have a social responsibility?
Yeah, of course, I do have a social responsibility. But then again, I always have this question in my mind that are we supposed to police people on everything? And obviously, we're not promoting something which is illegal, immoral, or anything like that. If at all, even if you again go through the lyrics of that song, it's again talking about consent.
Sing me a couple of lines that talk about consent in that song. That's a great way to get you to sing.
छोरी को घर से भगाई के जबरदस्ती न नचाई के न बड़ा ही आसान है पिया आंखें सेकना कसम मेरी जान की तेरी काहे की मर्दानगी तेरी आया ना औरत का दिल अगर छू के देखना.
That's great.
Yeah.
So lyrically, if we translate that, that is her saying that if a woman doesn't respond or reciprocate the feelings, don't even try. Well, try touching and see what happens is what the lyrics essentially say.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's what happens, that somewhere when the visuals don't represent what the lyrics are actually about, sometimes audience, they don't read into what's really happening. They just right away they just give a verdict that, oh, it's a very vulgar song. There's no vulgarity in that song. When I read it, I didn't have the visuals in front of me. I just had the lyrics and a reference track. So I'm like, this is a great, and Amitabh Da will never write something very sleazy.
Yeah.
According to me, he's the best of the best that our music industry has produced, and he's a very, very smart and very, very nuanced writer. And when he's in the room, I know that it's a safe space. He will not write something which is not nice, which is not artistically nice.
Isn't there a dichotomy between what you sing and what you see, though? Because I don't know if you knew, I mean, in both cases, I think the videos are excellent for both the songs that we've been talking about. But in both the songs, the premise is the same. You know, it's a scantily dressed woman who's dancing in a group of men, albeit talking about consent, albeit talking about her own, owning her sexuality, her individuality. But still, the visuals are that of a scantily dressed woman in a crowd of men leeching over her. So is there not a dichotomy between what you sing and what you eventually see?
There is, but see, that's where you lose control, because I had no idea, in both of these songs, I had no idea how the visuals would be. So if a song comes to me, I can only treat it like a song.
Yeah.
I can't predict that or have any creative control over the visuals. That's the business side of the thing that other people are, sort of deciding that what can we do to make people watch it. The thing is that a lot of people, huge numbers of people also watch it because of it. So it's a very hypocritical situation where people will criticize it and also watch it for the same reason. So it is a very sticky situation, because then people who are only dealing with commerce, which side are they going to choose?
They're going to choose the sides that makes them the most money,
Yeah.
of course. But with both songs, they bring back, and here while I'm in Mumbai, I'm asking a lot of people about this. I feel like Bollywood has lost its identity in the last 5 or so years. That it doesn't really know what it's doing or what it's chasing or what its signature style is. But when I see Aaj Ki Raat or I see an Uyi Amma, I can very clearly say, this is Bollywood.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that as a viewer over the last few years, that there was a sense of losing one's identity as an industry?
I think post-COVID and also with the uprising of the OTT content, I think Bollywood I think a lot of people were still trying to figure out what people want to watch, how to bring people back to the theaters, what kind of entertainment works best for, our urban and rural and, all the tier 2 cities. I think slowly the producers and the makers are coming back into the groove, and I can say Stree 2 as a movie was a full-blown entertainer. I really liked the movie. Even if I was not associated with it in any way, I loved Stree 1.
You were definitely associated with the movie.
No, I really liked Stree 1 because what a great, it's funny, it's got good music and it's got great dialogues, good storyline. I really liked it. So I think now the creators are slowly getting back to the rhythm. And I think it's going to get better in the coming days.
And I think it's a full 360 perspective, because it's not just about the films and the storylines and the storytelling or the visuals. It's the music. The music is a really key element. And actually in the last 4-5 years, it was remix after remix. It was, nothing really refreshing or new. And I do think Be Sharam Rang in Pathaan was a bit of a game changer.
Absolutely.
I think it was a real reset on Hindi film music. And I think Vishal Shekhar did an excellent job. Shilpa did an excellent job. But it was an opportunity to bring in ghazal into mainstream Hindi cinema, put a spin on it. And I'm going to speak to Sachin Jigar, but I wonder if somewhere it was an inspiration for Aaj Ki Raat, because Aaj Ki Raat it's in ghazal form. The way you sing is in the rag of a ghazal. And it's amazing, because for many people, classical Hindi or Indian styles of music didn't have a place in Bollywood.
Yeah.
How refreshing is it for you to see what this song has done and how audiences have embraced traditional Indian styles of singing?
Oh yeah, it's been so refreshing and such a relief for me, because I've always been a student of Indian classical music. I've learned it from my childhood, and it was always a given that if you want to succeed in commercial music, you have to sort of modify your tone and do this and make it lighter. And because for years we've only heard very thin, very girly, very feminine tones in Bollywood. And so for singers like me, we've always heard that you can't be the voice of the heroine. You're not the heroine voice. The heroine voice needs to be very, delicate. So it has always been like, okay, I've like, TK, I'll sing. I'll obviously not give up because of that. But I still remember the night Sachin sir called me to the studio and he's like, you have to come. It's a very important song. And it was Amitabh Da and Sachin Jigar and me in the studio, very late at night, the usual 1 a.m. And they sang the song to me and I was like, this is literally in a ghazal format, but the beats are so interesting. The song already had magic without any vocals. I was like, this song is going to work. I don't know which project this is in, but I have to do. Even Sachin sir told me that ye tera gana hai. You have to make it your own. I don't know what you're going to do.
Do you know how they identified your voice as the right voice for it?
No idea, but I can say that they have always been very kind to me. They are very good with their casting. Like when they cast the voices, it's a very important quality which not a lot of people have, but they are very experienced and they are great with all the genres of music. So I met them in 2018 and they've been very kind to me, as in they exactly identify the kind of songs that would sound good in my voice. And this was, I think, I've had releases with them before Aaj Ki Raat, but they were very sure that this song needs to be in my voice. And he was like, you have to do it. And till 4:30 we were jamming with ideas like this portion we can do in this tune and all of that.
How do you pick the rag? How do you pick what I might be using the wrong word here, but how do you pick where you take each note to? Like where I don't know how to describe it, but there's a rhythm and a flow to every word that you sing in that song, and not just in that song, in Nazariya ki Maari as well. How do you know where to leave the note, where you're going to go up, where you're going to go down? How do you get to that point?
So the composition is obviously done by the composer, but
so let's take the line like Mere Mehboob Samajhiye, that line for example. Can you sing that line for me, please?
Mere mehboob samajhiye zara.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can't believe I just interrupted you. I can't believe I did that. But that samajhiye zara.
Yeah.
You stretched it a little.
Yeah.
How do you pick that? That's where you're going to stretch it, because that's not the composition. That's your artistic flair that you've added to that.
I would say it's years of learning classical music. That's all I can say. Because what I learned from my guru, so if you give me a very straight composition and tell me, okay, make this into your version, then I will start doing my style on it. The composition will be Mere mehboob samajhe zara. Maybe this is the base composition. When you give it to me, I'll do it. Mere mehboob samajhiye zara mauke ki nazakat. This is my style. Like this is I can say what my guru passed down to me, or maybe the gharana or something, and I've done it for so long. I can't really tell it apart from, or you can say it's my gaiki. You know what they call gaiki in a way. So it is my gaiki that I bring into the song.
So the next two lines, give them to me as if you were the music producer and you could sing them in whatever way you wanted. How would you want to sing? Because what I love about your voice is how free flowing it is, and in any variation of the gaiki, you can still make it sound so beautiful and melodic. So how would you sing it if you could sing an alternative version of it?
There's so many versions we actually tried while recording. के खरीदी नहीं जा सकती. Then we tried हसीनों की इजाजत. This is one. हसीनों की इजाजत. There are many permutation combination. के खरीदी नहीं जा सकती हसीनों की इजाजत.
Wow. It's magic. It's magic. You have a magical quality to your voice, but your voice is not easily replicable. And one of the things that's key about Bollywood music is the ability for the average person to be able to sing the songs that are being put out. And I know when I sit in my car by myself and I'm driving to work and I try singing Aaj Ki Raat, I sound like a strangled dog. Trust me. Like when I'm trying to sing Aaj Ki Raat and I'm singing any part, I can do Jaan Ki Kurbani. I can do that because I don't need to try very hard for that. But I can't do anything you do. So how much is that a factor in locking down what the final version of the song is? How easy it will be for people to actually sing?
I think it's not just me. I think whatever our seniors, like be it Shreya Di or Sunidhi ma'am or Arijit Da or even Lata ji, what they used to do is not simple. They were super skilled. They are super skilled singers, which is very difficult for even us singers to replicate. So if they could do it and people could relate and still sing, I don't think people actually care. If it sounds good, they'll just sing. Yeah, the only thing is that it's important to not make it sound too complicated. It needs to sound simple, which is something which Arijit Da regularly does, that he does really unnerving harkat, and it sounds like anyone can do it, but actually no one can.
You know the end of Janna Meria, the
end.
Yeah.
Even in Phir Le Aaye Dil, Gapane zare ni re ni da ni da ma da na na. This whole thing, I was like, what was that? Why does this? What is this? Who's gonna sing this? But still, people love that song. People still attempt that song. Without really thinking much about it.
But not everybody can attempt it like you, so the rest of us...
No, that's why we are doing it professionally. It's our job to do it correct.
You know, what's wonderful, and maybe why I'm so happy, is, you know, I have got a love for this traditional classical style of music. You know, maybe it is because I grew up on more traditional soundtracks, or even in the 90s, everything was so melodic and beautiful. But there must have been was there a thought of disappointment in the last 4 or 5 years, since the time you moved to Mumbai, that the skill that you had polished so well wasn't in demand in this industry up until now, that the versatility that you had potentially would never have been showcased, because we were in a generation of remixes and simple compositions and high voices, as you said. Did you ever have that sort of thought?
See, as an artist, the more you think about these things, the more disheartened you'll get, and it's very important to keep your spirits high. because we are any artist is a very sensitive person. If you think too much about, this is not working. I've seen a lot of people around me who have overthought about things and kind of ruined a lot of things for themselves. So I actively tried not to think too much about what is happening, because I know times change. And maybe today people are not calling me for certain things. Maybe I will not do them justice, but tomorrow I might sing something which will become the trend. So which is exactly what happened. So I think I was right to not think too much about it. I just maintain one thing, that no matter what happens, my riyaz, my practice must go on. I can't look at what others are doing and not give my service or my puja to music, because I worship music. It's not my way of getting fame or success. I could have done anything else to earn money, but music is the most important thing in my life, and I can't neglect it because some trend is going which is not working in my favor. So that is the last thing I would do in my life.
But your riyaz and your practice and staying consistent at it is probably what got you the opportunity with Sanjay Bhansali, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, tell me about the song in Heeramandi, how that came about. That he's the music composer as well, right? What was that whole process like?
So it's very interesting, because the first time, I think during the end of lockdown, he wanted to meet me, and I was extremely surprised and nervous that what will I do? I have no idea. I'm usually not that intimidated by these situations, but it's Sanjay Bhansali. So I went, and he was extremely sweet with me. He said, "Ki you sing whatever you want to." And I was so stressed out that I couldn't think what should I sing, and I sang a very random thumri which I had learned. There was no premise of that thumri. I just sang it out of nowhere. That's the only thing that came to my mind. And he was so happy to hear that. He was like, I was not expecting, first of all, I was not expecting that voice out of you. I was like, should I take that as a compliment? Because, wow. And then he was like, you should sing. First, I sang for his album, Sukoon. And he was super happy about that song. And then I think a year later, then he got in touch with me for Heeramandi, and we sat down. And he's very meticulous about how how he wants every tune to glide, and the murkis and the means and everything. So it's always a pleasure to sit down with him. But to make a person like him happy with your singing, and he gave me a call after, I think just right before Heeramandi released. He was so happy. He was like, what you've done for me, it's just great. And I cried. I actually cried, because he has reached that epitome of, all these Indian things, all the grand things. He has access to the best of the best of the best in this whole industry. And he still chose me, and he still gave me so much of respect. So I felt very, very emotional in that moment. And I think from that's where my journey upwards really started.
That was really the catalyst. That was the catalyst in the journey on. Your song is the one that's picturized on Sanjida, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's a song of desperation and like holding on to like your lover's attention almost.
Correct,
and you have to emote so much as well. You have to emote that so that Sanjida can then therefore depict that on screen.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you are, when you're a playback singer, that you're an actress singer rather than just a singer? Because I'm sure the acting is so much part of it.
Yeah, it is. That's why I said we are always playing a character. If it's something like Uyi Amma, then I have to visualize on my own version of what might be going on. And okay, this young girl is trying to sort of run away, and also seduce, but also not be very coy about it. So to bring all of that out in your vocals, you have to be very much in control of your expressions, and you have to think like that. Sorry, go ahead.
You have to play
that character basically in your head.
So let's end the interview on that note. Why don't you give us a couple of lines of Uyi Amma in the character that you have to present in that song, and then if we can end on a couple of lines of Nazariya Ki Maari from Heeramandi, because that's a completely different tone. These are two opposite ends of the scale, and that will really showcase to anybody who just knows you from Aaj Ki Raat or just knows your name from the credits of these songs, just what powerful range and versatility you have.
Sure. Uyi Amma was like, Uyi Amma, hi, मैं तो मर गई. Uyi Amma, मैं तो टूट के बिखर गई. Uyi Amma, Uyi Amma, Uyi Amma. So the lachak and the playfulness and that Uyi Amma, this anticipation is again, it's the acting part. And Nazariya Ki Maari is Nazariya ki maari mari mori guiya. Nazariya ki maari mari mori guiya. Nazariya ki maari mari Nazariya ki maari mari mori guiya. Nazariya ki maari mari mori guiya.
Madhubanti, I am absolutely mesmerized. Thank you so much for your time, for your insight, and for all the music you've given us so far and everything we're going to hear hopefully in the next few years.
Yes,
Thank you.
Hopefully. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was, you are phenomenal. You are phenomenal. Like, you are